Well, the Stolzer method came about because there are two classic systems of training out there. The first system of training is the old school, which is the German style, the European style, which is punitive in nature. It says all behaviors, good or bad, will be shaped or modeled through the use of pain and discomfort. We're really not a big fan of that system. In addition to that, there's a new method out there which is called all positive training, which is exactly the opposite. It's the presence and absence of reward and affection will shape and mold all behaviors. And our goal was really to look at those methods out there and kind of say, okay, we don't really think either of those systems are consistent with the way that dogs are designed. So one of the things that we know about dogs is that they experience the world through their instincts. So the Stolzer method was really born off of the idea that we really want to treat dogs as individuals. So we put together a program that said, okay, we know the science behind the species. We know that dogs experience the world through their instincts. So let's roster the top 3 most present instincts in each dog. Let's map those for positive and negative traits, and then let's use that information to train the dog. The result is that we have a dog that still is happy, goofy, silly. Their personality's intact. They love to train. They love the work. And in the end, we've got that great dog with their great personality, but they're incredibly obedient. They're reliable. They're predictable. And that's really what the Stolzer method gives us. It gives us a custom curriculum for each specific dog so that we can acknowledge their specific traits and help them to be as successful and reach their potential to the greatest degree. And that's really what the Stolzer method is about. Behavior modification is often misunderstood, and folks try to fix it through the use of obedience-style behaviors. For example, training a dog to do skill-based behaviors to address actual behavioral problems is not the right way to address those. The first thing that we do here at Canine Inc. is we identify, are these behaviors genetic or are these learned behaviors? Now, genetic behaviors are behaviors that are a part of that dog's design or just a part of canine behavior as a whole. An example would be a beagle that barks. Beagles are natural barkers. Now, if we try to extinguish that behavior, we're going to find that extinguishing a genetic behavior is going to cause behaviors worse than the ones we want to get rid of to crop up in their place. So we need to develop a behavioral management program. Now, a learned behavior, an example of that might be a dog that jumps on their owner. And a lot of people tend to respond to jumping by pushing the dog off out of frustration. For a dog, canine behavior varies from human behavior. And so by pushing a dog, the dog's going to receive that attention as the owner wanting to play, regardless of how they feel. They're going to look at the action of being pushed and feel like, okay, they want to play. And then you're going to see that behavior increase and increase. The nice thing about learned behaviors is that we can extinguish them entirely, so they're completely fixable. That's one of the reasons it's important for us to identify whether or not a behavior is genetic or if it's learned so that we know exactly how to address it. See, dogs live in their state of mind, so it's important that we have the opportunity to condition the absence of the behaviors that we don't like so that we can reinforce what we want to occur. An example would be a dog is barking. When they stop, we use a series of options to reinforce the absence of that barking. Our dog's survival mechanisms kick into gear, and they say, when I'm exhibiting this behavior, which may be calm and submissive, I'm receiving a high-value resource item, or I'm receiving high-value attention. Therefore, they begin to produce the absence of the behavior that we don't want more frequently, which helps us to better address the issues we do want versus the issues that we don't want. This gives us far more control. Now, for the issue of a dog that's jumping, we might address that by specifically reinforcing both the absence of that behavior and providing a correction that's consistent with the way that dogs receive information. Now, that's part of being fair as a pack leader, is ensuring that the communication that we provide to our dogs is one that they understand because it's a part of their natural design. That's one of the ways that we address behavior modification here at Canine Inc. Obedience is really made up of a couple of specific areas. It's the skills that we're going to teach our dog, and then it's the relationship that we have with them. And that's really two distinctive parts. If we don't have a good relationship with our dog, if we're not recognized as the pack leader, it's going to be very hard to get obedient responses from our dogs. Now, the obedient side is all skill-based, and it's really about teaching dogs a series of skills that they can execute when we need them to, in real-world situations, whether it's in our home or at the park. Now, one of the important things that we have to recognize is that there's a variety of details that we have to know in order to be successful with training our dogs. For example, dogs have a very limited association between cause and effect. And that's really a fancy way of saying that dogs have a short window to help associate that this behavior equals this reward, or this behavior equals this consequence. And that window is only about 1.3 to 1.5 seconds. So essentially, if we don't catch our dogs in the act, or if we don't reward them or correct them within that time frame, they're not going to make the association. Now, my background is in canine behavior. And as a behaviorist, I feel like it's helped Canine Inc. as a company to be the best trainers that we can be, and for us to provide the best training to our clients and education to our clients that we can possibly provide. In addition to things like timing and association, we also think about information such as how long does it take a dog to transfer information from their short-term memory bank to their long-term memory bank. It takes about 3 months for a dog to transfer information from their short-term memory bank to their long-term memory bank. So what that means is we have to not only create momentum and maintain that momentum, but we need to be providing some consistency that exists for at least 3 months in order to ensure that our dogs have taken that information in exchange from short-term to long-term. That way we know that that information is in our dogs forever, and that if life ever gets busy and training and consistency falls to the wayside, we know that we can recall that information with our dogs by bringing out that consistency and that reliability. And that's why we concentrate on the science behind the species, so that we know how to set our dogs up for success, and then of course how to set you, the client, up for success as well.